sacrifice things that normal people do, okay, like, quote, having a life. I'm not saying not to enjoy your life, but like, you can't be going out and drinking every night. You can't be eating $6 cupcakes. You might not be able to go to the movies on the weekend until you get really wealthy. Okay, then you can do way more things than normal people do. But you might find that you might not want to do that, because a peak performer is not a normal person. Peak performer is an obsessive. A peak performer is an addictive personality. It's just putting your addictions into the things that are going to benefit you. You do things that normal people do, you're going to have a normal person life, which is making $50,000 pre-tax, which works, for a 40-hour week. You're looking at about $15 an hour after tax, and after Social Security and all the benefits and things like that are deducted. That's what you're looking at. That's most people's salary. And then you ask yourself, how does everyone avoid these houses and these cars? They don't. They're in debt. Okay, they're in debt, which is why, like, the only people that don't have money problems are in the 1%. And the 1% were not the Wall Street Occupy guys that everyone was protesting at. Those guys are like the 0.001%. 1% of people are like six-figure earners. That's the entry to the peak performance game, at least on the financial side. Which brings us to point 13. You got to put in extraordinary effort. Ordinary effort yields ordinary results. Extraordinary effort is the only way to get ahead and to get 1% across the board, period. End of discussion. Number 14, get comfortable doing uncomfortable things. The way to expand your income is expanding your comfort zone. Okay, all your future income comes from strangers. One of the most beneficial things that I've ever learned was outbound sales, making 100 cold calls a day. Just burnt through my fear of uncomfortable conversations. You might not have to do outbound sales in your business, which is fantastic. I'm happy for if you don't, but you're probably going to have to do inbound sales off the marketing coming in. Or maybe you've got a sales team, but you're going to have to train them and teach them how to have those uncomfortable conversations. And you're going to have uncomfortable conversations with them if and when they miss their targets. Okay? Every level that you get higher in business and in a lot of, even in fitness, right? It's uncomfortable to go to the gym and continuously be lifting more and creating those micro tears in your body. So you've got to get comfortable doing things that other people think are uncomfortable. That's where all the opportunity lies. Number 15, get good at selling. Sales is the most important skill in business. Marketing, branding, content, product, services, they're merely just branches of sales. They're merely just branches of getting other people to give you money without a gun pointed in their face. Okay. That's the government's job. Okay, government's got a monopoly on force, which is why they crack down so hard on other people trying to utilize force. And I'm not saying that you should want to use force anyways. It's, you want to have an ethical and a positive way to live, but it all comes down to every person that you've ever done business was at one point a stranger, and it's getting them to give you money, either through a product or a service. And those products and services are, done through marketing, branding, advertising, creating free content, outbound sales, inbound advertising, you name it. Okay, but at the end of the day, the client has to buy, whether on the phone, in person, through your sales page, through the sales team that you've trained, through the 30 sales killers that you've got on the, working the phones for you, through any method really. It comes down to they have to buy. Business itself is just a sub-discipline of sales, right? Sales is just getting someone to give you money in exchange for a product or service. And that's true across every business, no matter how high up the food chain. It could be John Rockefeller, Jeff Bezos. At the end of the day, he started small and learned how to sell and created an organization that's really good at sales, because they're really good at Amazon right now at delivering value, delivering their products and services. Spends a ton on advertising, but that all just comes down to getting you to buy, getting you to give them money. And the end result is, I think, 100 billion or something like, or 130 billion pre-divorce. Divorce took 37 billion off of him. Legal marriage, guys, North America does not make sense. $37 billion is what he lost for a few nudes that he sent his girlfriend. Just so you know, okay? Get good at selling. Even if, like, let's just take Coca-Cola, a company that's 100 years old or whatever. The reason you know that is because the founder of the company was able to create a product that he thought tasted good and was able to sell a small amount of people in his hometown, and was able to sell a bank on giving him a loan to be able to use that to advertise and to get sell his product sort of store to store, so that people would stock his product, all the way up to, creating the assembly line, which he used with the profits of the company, all the way up to selling different governments to allow them to sell Coca-Cola in those countries. The entire operation is built and maintained on salesmanship. You might not think that, it's not like someone's knocking on your door and asking you to buy Coca-Cola, but you knew about it because of what salesmanship a guy did 100 years ago, and because of the salesmanship that people continue to do. They continue to keep selling that product through the distribution channels to, the small stores that you buy them. Like in the mountains of Thailand, where I'm riding my motorcycle, where the internet reception goes out, you can go into the smallest little shack of a store and they have cold Coca-Cola in the fridge, and that's from ultimately salesmanship. I'm giving those guys money, okay? I'm giving Coca-Cola money in the middle of nowhere. It's incredible. If you want to learn how to sell, check out my book, How to Sell, and put it into practice. revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/products. Again, book's not going to be on sale by the end of the year. It's going to be part of my course. I've got a lot more information. Stay tuned, stay patient for that course, please. It's coming. Number 16, get tough. A successful person, a peak performer, is able to sustain pain and persist over long periods of time. That's the defining trait of all peak performers: pain tolerance, and be able to persist through that pain over time. Not just stay in survival mode and just take a beating, but take the beating, take the pain, persist past it, push into thrival. Okay? That push, that desire, that hunger, that vigilance, that persistence, that relentlessness, that aggressiveness is what enables you to get out of survival mode, to get out of the 99% into the 1% and into thrival, especially through uncertainty. Like, one of the most difficult things for a lot of guys becoming peak performers is they don't know when they're going to get a break off the treadmill. They don't know where they're going to see the light, right? Like, it's easy to kill yourself knowing you only have to be on the treadmill for 20 minutes. It's a different story altogether when you're like, when am I going to have that break? When am I going to hit six figures? When am I going to hit 20 grand a month or whatever? And that's the key. Just not giving up. Like, never, ever, ever giving up. Never giving up. Okay. Never quitting. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's forever. A lot of the time, the guys who talk the toughest and the loudest and seem the most fired up, they only run on motivation. They quit 2 months later, and you see a trail of dead bodies behind them in terms of like 3 or 4 abandoned businesses. Okay, it's the guys who just stay on the grind and never quit, and they might not be as loud and they might not be as braggadocious, but They're just on their grind, not stopping, not quitting, taking the pain and pushing past it to get to thrival, okay? Because this is not about being a Navy SEAL. This is about ultimately happiness. This is not about LARPing as Mr. Super Tough Guy. It's about getting to thrival, to where you paid the price to be able to do what you love, okay? That's the whole point. It's not the point of just being tough for the sake of being tough and having a mission that you hate. It's just the fact that, like, if you're not rich, you might have to do a lot of things, like working a sales job like I did, to be able to buy your freedom.